Hi class, this is a brief instructional video. It's actually a review about how to write an effective summary. Many of you did a great job writing your Walsh summary and some of you did not. So this is one last opportunity to perfect this skill before we move on to something more difficult. So this week you were asked to read the Jason Lusk article about industrial farming, and as you know by now, it offers a completely different perspective on industrial farming than the perspective offered by Walsh. They are very different in their views. So we wrote the Walsh summary. You have received feedback on that summary. You need to go ahead and make those revisions because this summary will be in a larger paper in the weeks to come, okay? So we're using the exact same template for the Lusk summary. So just a little bit of review. It's an 11-sentence summary. And the first sentence, you need to introduce the central idea conveyed by the author. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add right here, title and author. Okay, so the complete title in quotation marks and the author's full name also need to go in that first sentence. Okay, because before you summarize, the reader needs to know exactly what you are summarizing. So it follows the same pattern, A, B, and C. Sentence 2 is your first big idea. So after you read, you should start brainstorming. If I had to pick 3 things that this author is trying to convey to his audience, what would those 3 main ideas or big ideas be? So the first one's going to go right there. After any time in writing, if you make a claim like you are right here that this is the first big idea, you have to prove that claim. So I am going to find evidence in the article that proves that yes, Lusk thinks this way. And then in the next sentence, I'm going to explain that to the reader, okay? I'm going to follow that same pattern for sentences 5, 6, and 7, and again in sentences 8, 9, and 10, the exact same thing. And then I'm going to have my concluding sentence. I gave you a sentence starter. Last time, it might look something like this. Lusk main message is, okay? I think the one we use for Walsh is Walsh wants his readers to know, okay? Lusk main message is, and you're gonna finish that sentence, okay? So very briefly, I'm gonna close this out. You should be using this summary, especially at the beginning of class, at the beginning of the semester, you should be using this template to write your summary, okay? So let me get out of there. And I'm going to go to a new blank document. And I brainstormed my big ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and write those down, okay? For Lusk, I believe that he focuses on the fact that technology and innovation have dramatically changed farming in recent decades. He also spends a lot of time talking about farmers themselves. Industrial farmers are environmentally responsible. Very different than the thoughts of Walsh. He also talks a lot about how industrial farmers face many obstacles in their work. Farming is not an easy field, get it, field to go into, okay? So now that I have my 3 big ideas, I already know in my head that these are going to end up being sentence 2, sentence 5, sentence 5, and sentence 8, okay? Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to add to them, but those are going to be my big ideas for sentences 2, 5, and 8. All right, so before I get there, I'm going to go ahead and come up here and start with sentence 1. Okay, so in your template, it says that you're supposed to basically give the general gist of the article, okay, whatever that is, and we're also going to name the author and the title. So, in Jason Lusk, and he spells his name weird, okay? In Jason Lusk's article, Why Industrial Farming is Good for the Environment. Guys, I really hope that that's the right title. I do not have it in front of me. Make sure that's right. In Jason Lusk's article, Why Industrial Farming is Good for the Environment, the author defends the common practices used in today's agriculture. Okay? So that is basically what the whole article is about. He's arguing with the reader and basically making the stance that industrial farming is good for us. It's necessary. It's beneficial. Okay? So remember I talked about transition sentences, right? So right here, if I'm about to lead the reader into the first main idea, the first big idea, I need to offer a transition there that lets the reader know, hey reader, this is the first point that I'm going to make, but there are going to be other ones after. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put that. It could be the word first, primarily, initially, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to use initially, and then I'm going to make sure the reader knows that I'm talking about Lusk article and that these are not my ideas. Okay, I'm summarizing Lusk. Lusk asserts that technology and innovation have dramatically changed farming in recent decades. Okay, then I'm going to go into my article and I am going to find proof of that. I'm going to summarize, paraphrase, or directly quote that proof. Many of you got a little quote happy in the Walsh article. I told you in the first instructional video that you should use direct quotes very sparingly. They can make your writing choppy and hard to follow if they are overused. Okay, so putting things in your own words is usually your best bet. So I'm going to go ahead and whatever my proof is right there, I'm going to put it. You would notice on your article that there were some strange page numbers. SR4, when that originally was published in a newspaper, the section was SR and then the page number was 4 and it was published on one page in its entirety. So that's why your page number is SR4. So in every citation that you have, okay, and if you're confused about citations, I want you to go back to Module 3 and I want you to watch the video, How to Integrate Evidence. That's what should be in all your citations is SR4. You may have the author's name before it, or you may not. So it may say Lusk SR4 or just SR4. All right, so I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to provide commentary to explain it in sentence 4, and then I'm ready for my second big idea right here. So I'm going to give that reader a transition, something like next, okay? Next, Lusk argues that industrial farmers are environmentally responsible. I'm following that same pattern. I'm going to prove it with evidence from the text, and then I'm going to explain it in sentence 7, and then I'm ready for sentence 8. Finally, I've been saying Lusk a lot, so I think I'm going to change it right here. The author emphasizes that industrial farmers face many obstacles in their work. One last thing I want to point out to you I want you to look at these verbs. The author defends. The author asserts. Lusk argues. The author emphasizes. When you reference the text in MLA, you always use the present tense, because even though the article was written in the past, you are discussing it in the present. Okay? So make sure you stay in present tense whenever you reference the text. Now, I hope this helped you. I'm giving you permission to use my big ideas if you want to. If you want to take a little bit of wording from my big ideas, I'm okay with that. Some of you definitely need to go back and watch the instructional videos on the first summary, especially the part about MLA formatting. You will use MLA in every English and every humanities class that you take from now until you finish your degree. So we are covering the fundamentals right now. If you didn't get it the first time in the WASH summary, you need to go ahead and make sure you get it, okay? Please email me. Let's set up an appointment. If you need help, that's my job. I'm here. Let's talk about it. The class is only going to get more difficult from here on out, so I need to make sure that we are all ready to progress. All right, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys online.